So I want to place the whole debt and deficit conversation in context, because I do think if you are one of the congresspeople who says, wait a second, I didn't vote for that budget, and I didn't vote for that tax policy, and I really do care about the debt picture. And I agree with you, both parties keep making bigger commitments and bringing in less money than we can cover those commitments. We're deeper and deeper in debt. Isn't that a crisis? And how else are we going to force a national discussion? And so I do want to talk about debt and deficit, and I almost wish I didn't do it now, because in every crowd there's at least 10% who really will start to hate me in about 2 minutes. So, and basically what I want to say is debt and deficit matters. It doesn't matter as much as you think it does. That's basically my argument. That here's something we know about governments and debt, broadly speaking. We know that governments can run a debt forever, as long as it's a reasonable size debt. So if your debt is around, we measured the size of a government's economy or a country's economy by GDP, basically all the economic activity in a given year in that country. And we know that if you keep the debt around 50%, 60% of GDP, you will never, ever have to worry about debt or deficit. You don't need 0, 50%, because basically what happens is a reasonably healthy country grows at a fast enough pace that you can pay the interest on that debt. You can cover your nut very easily, very conveniently, basically forever. And when you think about countries you've heard of that have gotten into serious debt problems, Greece, Argentina, Zimbabwe, these are countries that are way typically above 100% debt to GDP. Now, you might know this, we are on track to be about 100% debt to GDP. And that is a real concern. That is a genuine issue that we need to worry about. But it's what I would call a generational concern. It's a concern that needs to be addressed over the next 10 years or so. It's not a concern that needs to be addressed today, for some simple reason. However lousy we are at this finance thing, everyone else is worse, and that's really good news for us. If you did look at, it is true, if you just looked at our numbers, if you just handed our numbers to an international finance expert who has been asleep for 30 years, that person would look at our numbers and say, oh boy, that does not look good. But luckily, we get to show them Europe's numbers, and we get to show them Japan's numbers. And then they start thinking, oh, I get it. All these other countries need a safe place to store their money because they're much worse at managing this economy. And so, so what that means is we have time. Greece has problems that need to be addressed in weeks. Not long ago, it had problems that needed to be addressed in hours. If we don't do anything for 5 years, 10 years, we are in trouble. That is true. We are on a scary track. And if you look at the CBO's numbers, the Congressional Budget Office, which is generally the standards used by everybody, it's a pretty bipartisan model of the future of the economy. It does, I guess for you, it goes like that. It is a hockey stick, debt to GDP. We kind of hurtle past Greece somewhere around 2020 and just straight up from there. And that's a real concern. But we know something about how you bend a long-term debt picture.